host, Pasta Guy, along with Cupcake Paints, and filling in for both Viking and Elsa 12 TMNT is someone I'm very close with, actually, in real life, because he's my brother, Knight of Doom. Say hi, Knight of Doom.
Hi.
You want to give a little description of yourself so people know who you are?
Well, I am your brother. I look very similar to you, but I'm a bit more, darker, I guess you could say. Just a bit more less cheerful, I guess. Also,
Maybe talk about your Undertale credentials, considering what type of podcast this is.
Also, I am gay as shit. Unlike you bisexual person.
Adam, I didn't think you'd have to list that. I was more thinking about, hey, what's your actual experience with Undertale and stuff?
We didn't make that specific, did you?
It's an Undertale themed podcast. I thought you'd think about that type of stuff.
Okay, so my experience with Undertale goes about, I heard about people talking about it for, a year. Then Sam told Aaron to play it. Then he played it, and I walked in on him fighting the final boss with Azrael, and he was just so good!
And, after that, he was just like, what could cause that level of reaction and stuff for my brother who, thing about me, I'm not that actually too stringent on spoilers and stuff myself, but him seeing me react like that was kind of shocking. So he was just like, what the heck could cause my brother, who's got some of the greatest movies and games of all time spoiled for him, just have a reaction like that. And yeah, so then I made him play through the game with me watching over him and stuff, and yeah, he loved it to bits and all that. And yeah, he watched a bunch of comic dub stuff and everything, and yeah, that's it. He hasn't really made anything for the community or anything like that. He hasn't he hasn't done art or whatever. I mean, he's done some art, but nothing he's posted or anything. So yeah, honestly, he just got dragged into this because I wanted a second co-host, and he was available.
Yeah, hi, how are all of y'all?
Hello, my brother brought me here.
My brother brought me here. Alright, and now let's introduce our very special guest for this week. We have TheArchimage, who's a creator of a bunch of Undertale fanfics and stuff, and yeah.
Hello.
Would you like to introduce yourself for those who don't know who you are?
Yeah, certainly. I am the Archmage, or Archimage, or Archmage. I've never actually figured out how it's supposed to be pronounced. I've written quite a number of Undertale fics. My major works are How to Save a Soul and The Munificent Seven. Both of those are part of a series, with How to Save a Soul first and Munificent Seven following after. Munificent Seven is still in the works, so it's a work in progress, but it's gotten reasonably popular,
Yeah, a couple hundred kudos, better than anything I ever got. But yeah, so we got a list of questions as always, but again, we will be taking questions from the chat, even though there's only 3 of you here right now. Hopefully that number grows throughout the live stream. But yeah, okay, so my first question for you, Archmage, is what made you want to make your main fanfic series and just your Undertale fanfics in general?
I guess I'd have to go into what started my fascination with Undertale. I got in a little later than most people, or at least I didn't get into it until after the furor started dying down. It was about the spring or summer of 2016. So this would have been about a good 8 or 9 months after the game came out.
Yeah.
It had been on my. I'd heard about it a little bit previously, but nothing more than like, oh, hey, there's this RPG out where you don't have to kill anything. Isn't that interesting? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty neat. But I didn't really get into. I didn't really get into it until a couple. I think it was like YouTube videos of like some boss fights started popping up in my feed, and I'm like, well, what is this? What is this? This looks really interesting. I then proceeded to spoil myself rotten on the entire storyline. So when I started playing the game, I knew all about Sans and Azrael and all the spoilers, but it didn't actually affect my enjoyment of the game at all. So then I got really into it. Now I haven't checked I meant to check the exact timing on this, but after finishing the game, I thought, even with like all the discourse going on, that hey, this car person, this Kara person, that they did some wrong things, but they're a dumb kid. They don't really deserve being depicted as this like knife wielding psychopath. And like shortly after, I was vindicated because the very influential YouTube video, "The Truth About Kara," came out, and that really changed the conversation in a lot of ways and made more sympathetic portrayals of Kara more common. To actually answer the question, what made me start writing is that I had some ideas for fan fiction, and I'd even written a couple like bits and pieces of fiction. Specifically, these became these would eventually become chapters in How to Save a Soul. But I realized while writing one of them, the conclusion scene, that I really needed to go through nearly the entire game, the events of the game, in order to really have that emotional impact hit. And I was just like, oh well, I'll get around to it someday. Well, during November, I do a National Novel Writing Month. So that's, you attempt to write a 50,000 word novel, starting with a blank page on the 1st of November and ending up with 50,000 words minimum by the 30th of November. And I distinctly remember that year, 2016, I live in the United States, and if you recall, something very, very bad happened at the very beginning of November in 2016 that we're still living with the consequences of today. And because
Keep
of that,
it Undertale related, everybody.
Yeah. So because of that, my original idea for what I wanted to do fell through. I did not have the mental capacity for writing it. I didn't have the motivation to continue, and I thought, I need something happy. I'm going to write Undertale, and so I wrote Undertale, and that would turn into How to Save a Soul. How to Save a Soul is a novelization of the game. Which is a type of fic that we're all very familiar with, but I decided from the beginning that there would be two major differences between what I was doing and what a lot of other people were doing. The first is that this is a story we are all very, very familiar with by this point. So I decided I was not going to waste the reader's time, and if there was nothing I could add to a scene, if there was no insight, no characterization, nothing funny I could add to it, I was just going to skip it. So this ended up with a lot of scenes being skipped because I didn't have anything new or funny to say about them. And the other major difference doesn't come in until chapter 5. Do you mind spoilers at all?
Yeah, no, No, that's fine. If it's just as early as like chapter 5 and stuff.
Yeah. Well, most of the chapters are from Kara's point of view, as they are the helpful narrator for Frisk. But in chapter 5, we reveal that not only does Frisk have the save and load and reset powers that we're all familiar with, but Kara does not remember anything that happens in those loaded or reset timelines. And Frisk is only too happy to abuse those to kind of shape Kara's idea of what Frisk is actually like.
Oh boy.
So the main thrust of the fic is, yes, it's going through the events of Undertale, but it's really a character study of Frisk and Kara and their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's how I got into writing Undertale.
Yeah. Sad note, I just got a subscriber during this stream, so that's nice.
Woohoo!
Yeah. I think I'll actually be able to break 100 by the end of the month if everything keeps going right. I mean, I got a bunch. I got a bunch when I streamed with Zaragi, and I think I might be able to like break freaking 200 if I can get the Inverted Fate guy on later this month or not.
Well, there's like only a week or so left of this month.
I think I could get it before then, hopefully. Alright, so...
First, I wanted to say a reminder, because I didn't have the chance to put it in chat. Keep it as, like, PG-13, keep swears down, so on and so forth, you know.
Yeah.
Just because I forgot.
Even though the stream isn't labeled for kids... And the YouTube thing, I still try to keep it like generally friendly and stuff. Okay, so yeah, okay, so
in that case, I do want to warn viewers that my fics are generally PG-13. However, 8-year-olds do know the F word, so.
Yeah, I can say yes to this. I literally shouted an F-bomb out of a car when I was driving. When my dad was taking me to a Taekwondo class when I was 8.
What the flip? I don't remember that.
Of course, back then a kid doesn't say like the F word because of like they actually know what it means. They say it because hey, it makes people uncomfortable and it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, at first I thought it was just me that only, like, because I learned all the bad words when I was a kid, that, oh, maybe it's just my family. But then my 2-year-old niece knows the F words. I'm like,
That actually reminds me of a story. So, my mom was like, okay, so her first, my oldest sister, her first daughter and stuff, it's like, she's called Jessica and everything, and Jessie comes in like after school and stuff, and she's just like, and my mom's just like, did you have a good day at school? And she's just like, yeah, even though I learned a bad word today at school. And my mom was like, oh, what word was it? And my little 3-year-old sister said mother effer at her. And I'm just thinking, and my mom was just thinking, okay, even though a sweet, adorable 3-year-old said mother effer to me, I can't laugh even though I really want to, because if I do, that means she'll do it more. So she just respectively told her, like, that's a very bad word, sweetie, don't say that. Well, internally she's just laughing at the storm.
being responsible is hard.
It is.
Especially when little kids doing bad things. It's ever so fun.
Yeah, like another story I have is like This is for my health teacher. I don't know how it got to this point in like class and stuff that we were talking about this, but one of my health teachers in like 8th grade, she like told me the story of like so her family was staying in this like really nice hotel and stuff that had a nice little walkout balcony and everything in their room. But the thing about the walkout balcony was that there was a glass door, and it was super like the glass was like super nice and see through and stuff. It was like so nice that you couldn't even tell that it was there a lot of the time. And basically one morning, like she woke up early and like went out onto the balcony to like read so she wouldn't wake anybody up. But then her like 4-year-old like son wakes up, and he's of course like happy to see his mom and everything, and the little 4-year-old walks forward and bumps his head on the glass and stuff.
Cue American Funniest Home Video laugh track.
Yeah, and she's just like, oh my god, sweetheart, are you okay? And stuff, and she's just like trying to hold back laughter because she just saw her son just right into the glass door and everything. Yeah, okay.
To combine those two topics briefly, of children doing bad things, I actually do have a number of one-shot fics.
Yes,
the premise of them being children getting into trouble. Like I have for instance, I have one fic called Treacherous Footing, which is the entire premise of the fic is that Asriel, Kara, and Frisk are making a complete mess of the living room, playing The Floor is Lava.
That is... Yeah, I feel like this fandom forgets that these people are kids a lot of the time.
Yeah, the other thing is that people forget that, like, in all the angst and the existential questions that a lot of Undertale fics go in, is that Undertale is a really funny game.
Yeah.
So I usually try to put in a bit of humor into my fiction, because you really need like the highs to be high in order for the emotional lows to hit their low.
Yeah, it's like I read like stuff with Gaster in it, and it's usually all dark and gloomy, like, oh my science, it's so horrifyingly terrible, and then and then the problem is that if you keep that up the entire time,
it loses its impact.
It's like this gothic novel without understanding what makes actual good gothic novels work.
Yeah. Then you go read Handplates and he's like a huge freaking dork and stuff.
Handplates is freaky. It's like he hurts people.
Yeah, but he's also a big dork if you like see the side comics and stuff. But
it's like you hate him for hurting the Skella brothers, but then it's like, but you don't really want him to get like too hurt, because he's still just like a goof.
Well, Gaster, there's a lot of room to interpret his character's age. I do get a little tired of authors who treat him as Spackle, where I have this weird plot hole that isn't really explainable, or I need something to happen that can't really happen. I'll just plug the hole with Gaster.
Oh, that happens so much, along with determination solves everything, and human souls are too OP to live.
Exactly. Just determination, the plot hole, eraser spray. Why can they do this? Determination. Why can they do that? Determination.
Got a pesky plot hole? Just add Gaster.
Some big magical event needs to happen. Well, nothing like a few human souls to throw on the fire. we'll just keep getting human souls magically somehow because does nobody understand there's only 6 of these little guys down here?
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of a hypocrite because I use Gaster to fill up some stuff in my AU and stuff, and also some human soul stuff, but I use them sparingly, okay?
Yes.
Yeah, same. Like most of the time, I use Gaster to introduce plot holes, not to. Like the big thing is, well, it's major spoilers for the Munificent Seven, but there's something that happens in it fairly early on, where Gaster did something, and most of the cast is like, okay, but how did you do that? And they can't ask Gaster; he's not around. So it's at the moment it's a big unanswered question of, okay, how did you pull that off?
I don't know, maybe he blew up the top amount of it and then break danced on the remains.
Alright, well, let's get to some other of the questions on the official list and stuff. Okay, so here's a good question for you. So for those not in the know, Archmage, you're a bit older than a lot of people in this fandom. How does it?
I am.
How does it feel making Undertale fanfics when you are older than the majority of its fan base?
Well, like part of it is that I've always considered myself young at heart, and that I never stopped being an incorrigible little crap. So you say like yes I'm older, but I'm still, and I think that's one of the strengths of my writing is that I never really forgot what it's like to be a child. I mean, it does give me a little bit of pause because, well, I am like significantly older than the mean. So people might say something. They wouldn't say it now, obviously, but say something like, "Oh, we should meet up in person," and I'm like, "I don't think I should."
How old are you?
Because I'm in my late 30s, and someone in their late 30s going to meet with a bunch of teenagers. How about we don't do?
Please.
FBI, open up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does give me a bit of it's. I don't really think about it that much until I make a joke or a reference about something that was in my childhood, and everyone else is looking at me like, "What are you even talking about?" Because they weren't alive.
What is this? What is this 80s cartoon thing?
Or
What's
even
this thing you peek of?
or even things that or even make references to things I've read because I'm old enough to have read those. Like, I make a number of references in my fics that I'm fairly sure go over most people's heads. That's not a sense of like, oh, I am so intelligent and edgy. You wouldn't understand. Cigarette puff. It's really more that I need a random name or something to fill in. Like at one point in the Munificent Seven, Kara suggests, "Oh, how about we watch this movie?" And I needed okay, what movie would they suggest? So I had them reference a movie that's actually titled in Infinite Jest. And Sans looks at it as like, Blood Sister, One Tough Nun. No, I don't think we're going to be watching that. But yeah, unless you've read Infinite Jest, you're not going to know where I got that name from. Yeah. But if you don't, it doesn't affect your enjoyment of it at all because it's just a throwaway. It's just a throwaway.
Yeah. I've had some I've had some references go over people's head too, and a lot of them are for for like kind of like older anime and stuff. A lot of the time, there are a number of plot points I did similar to even the show Neon Genesis Evangelion and stuff, and when people and I'm just like, and when I talk with people sometimes about my story, it's like, did you get the reference? And they're just like, what's an Evangelion? And I'm just like, I mean,
gosh dang it.
I have a kind of have a similar problem where there is like a scene that I basically like changed a bit of the dialogue, but it generally has the same feel of it. Have you ever heard the movie Amadeus?
Amadeus after Mozart?
You know, the Oscar-winning movie with like...
I hate to say this because it's going to chop off a whole lot of conversational threads, but I don't really watch movies, like, at all.
Another gasp.
So, are you more of a book man then?
I'd say yes, with some notable exceptions. I'm known as a book person in my group of friends, but occasionally, like, they'll find something read, and like, there is a funny story. I promise it'll be quick. Where we were playing we were doing a role playing game, and we ended up in this city where like all of the streets were exactly the same, all the houses were painted exactly the same, and every one of them had an identical child bouncing a rubber ball exactly in time with everyone else. And everyone is like, "Oh no, we have to do something about this." And I'm like, okay, I think there's something I'm not getting here. And everyone goes, Camazotz? And I'm like, no. It? No. Wrinkle in Time? And that's what I had to admit. At the age of like 25, I've never read Wrinkle in Time.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Everyone is like, what?
You're the book person and you haven't read A Wrinkle in Time?
I did read it afterwards, and it was reasonably enjoiable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of baby's first science fiction there. It's mostly magic.
Yeah.
First alternate dimensions and such.
Yeah.
Yeah, dark evil cosmic force. That's clearly just the Dark Lord from a fantasy novel.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, my parents are also big book people. I mean, we have a whole study in our house that's just filled with books and books and books. And to show you like how much of a book nerd my family was and stuff, my mom read the original Dune by Frank Hubert in like a weekend, and I'm just like, how did you do that? It's like that book's like 1,500 pages. Yeah, so
it's a doorstopper.
it is.
Really, it's a good book, though.
Yeah.
Well, of course it's good. Then nobody... If somebody said, here's a 1,500-page book, and it's kind of overall, most people would just chuck it into it. Chuck it.
I mean, like, some great books are pretty... that are quote-unquote great are pretty I find. I mean, I read To Kill a Mockingbird and stuff. It is, like, okay, if, like, okay, so the parts of the movie that they adapt are like the really good bits and stuff, and everything else is like a child living out a summer in like the late 30s and stuff in the South and everything, which is actually like it's really well developed. It's really complex and everything. You really get a sense of like how the town and like how daily life is here and stuff. Boring as hard to read, at least to a 16-year-old who had to read this book for a book class, and it's just like, yep, they still just hanging around and complaining about how hot it is and stuff. Oh my god, can we get back to the trial or whatever?
I liked To Kill a Mockingbird when I read it for high school.
I like the actually parts that they adapted into the movie and stuff. And again, I probably would like the book a lot more if I read it now. But to like actually 15-year-old me misremembered and stuff. That 15-year-old me and stuff. It was pretty dang boring, especially since it's like, oh boy, someone bored in the South during a long summer and stuff. Summer and stuff. I read books to escape, you know.
My wife says the same thing. Like, I read a lot of classic literature like that, and my wife is like, "Why do you do that?" Like, and basically the difference is that I read to understand the world, and she reads to escape it. So she reads a lot of fantasy and things like that. While I'm like, I'm actually not a huge fan of fantasy novels for the most part. Like, I'll read anything if it's good, but I don't really look for fantasy.
The last book I've been reading and stuff, Hitchhiker, I was interested in reading was Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and stuff. Ooh. But I didn't really get to finish that. Anyways, let's get back on topic at least a little bit.
All right.
All right. Okay, so this is a question that I want to ask you, like AO3 author to AO3 author. Do you know a person named Dragon Rules 18?
I do, as a matter of fact. They write. They're a fan of my work, and I've read what they've written, and they've written me a number of gifts.
Yeah, but the thing is, I've seen them everywhere. Like, I've seen them on so many different like comic sections and stuff for like the Undertale fanfics that I read and stuff, and I'm just like, dude, and they're like making fan stuff for it and everything, and I'm just like, dude, he's everywhere. And I also found him on Reddit one time when I posted it to the fanfiction Reddit, and I'm
pretty sure Dragon's Rule 18 is.
Oh, is it she? Oh, I'm sorry, but yeah, she's everywhere, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I'm just like thinking, like, is she gonna like find out this stream and stuff and gonna comment on that too? And I'm just like, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with what she's doing and everything. I'm just so surprised because
insight into that actually. Ina is a person who believes that if she has a personal rule where if you like a fic, then you should leave a comment. That's why a lot of the time they just say like, oh, I really enjoyed this. This was amazing. And not much more, but because they feel like they need to say something and let the author know that she appreciated reading what they had to write.
Aww. But yeah, it's just a little bit weird just scrolling down the comment section and being like, oh my gosh, she's there too.
It's like the Christopher Moon of AO3.
Christopher Moon, who's
yeah, Dragon's Rule 18 is good people.
Yeah, they're good. I love them. They commented on my thing even though it's not all that popular. which, by the way, if you want to go check out my stuff, check out Pasta Guy on AO3, and there am I Undertale AU Out of the Void, along with a couple of short stories.
How much he wants you to read his fanfiction.
Hey, gotta respect that.
Shut up, Adam. Anyways, so here's another thing. This is since you focus on Kara and Frisk so much in your stories, I knew I had to ask about this. In your stories and everything, you always make Frisk and Kara non-binary. What made you draw to that conclusion that they were non-binary in your opinion?
Well, the game itself only ever refers to Kara and Frisk with the they. Now you might be able to make the argument that they can't really that monsters aren't very good at telling the difference between children of different genders, so they default to they for Frisk because they can't tell the difference. But that really falls apart when you mention Kara, because Kara lived with them for it varies by the fic author, but Kara lived with them for long enough that for the Dreamers to become very attached to them. So if Kara objected to being referred to as they, if they had another preferred pronoun, they definitely would have said something to the Dreamers at some point. And honestly, there's not a lot of non-binary representation, so I'm more than happy to say okay, we're going to have them as they in my fics. I do if other people say oh my Kara is a boy, my Frisk is a girl or whatever, I'll refer to them as he or she when talking about the Kara and Frisk in their fics. But as far as mine goes, it's if you refer to Kara and Frisk as he or she in the context of the game, that's not my headcanon, that's inaccurate. They're referred to as they exclusively in the games, so that's why I list them as non-binary in my fiction.
I consider my preferred thing for them is female pronouns for both Frisk and Kara. The only thing that makes them special. I mean, Frisk is still straight and stuff, but one of the headcanons I have for Kara and stuff is that they're actually asexual. They don't really care. They don't really care for a relationship or anything like that.
Alright, guys, girls, and those that life betwixt, get out of my way. I'm not interested.
Guys, gals, non-binary pals.
Boys, girls, and the technicolor in between. That's my fair way of listing out all the genders, honestly.
My I don't really have a preference. I can go either way, but while I was playing Undertale, I felt like I put myself in the character's place, and so Frisk was a girl because I'm a girl. But the weirdest part was that when I was playing Deltarune, I actually thought of Chris as a boy, and I'm like, why? Wait, why do I think Chris is a boy? I can also
Chris
go
isn't exactly the most gender neutral name in the world. Chris
Adam,
Hines, all that stuff.
Adam.
Exactly, but Chris could also be short for Christine or something.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna point out.
Christine.
So Chris could go either way also, and I'd be fine, but I I thought of them as a boy, and I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
I think it's because of Chris's proportions. He's
Probably.
he's older than Kara Frisk was. And with children, honestly, you put them in clothes of the other gender, it's really hard to tell the difference. But as you get older and and the body starts filling out more, there starts to become some pretty noticeable physical differences.
Yeah.
So I think that's why people think of Chris as more of a boy. I fall into the same category as Karen Frisk, where the only times they're referred to in the game, it's with they. So I'm still in the camp of, Chris is non-binary as well.
You know, me being here, I honestly am pretty indifferent on the whole thing. I either see Frisk as non-binary, kind of tomboyish girl, or kind of more in touch with his feminine side guy.
Yeah.
I generally see them that three-way, never really land on anyone in particular.
Yeah, but yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, even though I consider like Frisk to be female and stuff, I also think of them as kind of a tomboy thing. Like, if you ever see the film Wolf Children and stuff, there's this one character in it, and she's basically like while all the girls are like talking about like, oh, look at how pretty this pretty like dresses and everything, she's like meanwhile she's just out in the back just like digging up in the ground and like looking for bugs and stuff.
Me.
Yeah, yeah, basically.
I found a snake. It started talking to me. Tell me you're so young, child. I think he's cute.
Yes, give me your soul. Don't trust it. Don't trust it. Don't trust it. It's probably some edgy fallen angel there that just wants your soul to like feast on or whatever. But anyways, hang on, we got a little comment on in the chat. Also, at the Determined Podcast, I see Kara as non-binary to be more realistic because even in game that Kara refers to themselves with they. So yeah, I got that from Nickel Shina. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry if I
Nikhil.
Nikhil.
That sounds correct.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though I consider like Frisk and Kara to be female and stuff, to me, I'm also fine with whatever interpretation anyone has. And in the Deltarune fic, the big Deltarune AU that I'm gonna start working on relatively soon, I'm gonna have it where Chris is like gender neutral. Basically, they're not outright non-binary or everything like that. But I'm just like when people are gonna ask what's their gender, they're just gonna be like, and I'm just gonna be like, whatever you want, because that's not the point. So
the Viking is spoke solution.
Exactly. Okay, so yeah, on the topic of Kara and Frisk, you knew this question was going to come up.
Oh yeah.
So, you ship Kara and Frisk together. Why is that?
Yeah. All right. First of all, I don't ship them together in the game or in the immediate aftermath of the game. Both of them are too young for that sort of thing.
Obviously,
they both need to grow up a bit, and that applies for any relationship with any of the kids.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, like, at the most, they're like 12, so.
I like 12.
They need more years on them.
Exactly.
But mostly I ship them together because of my headcanons for them. Like my Frisk is they try to be very pleasant. They try to be pleasant to people, but really they've got kind of anger management issues. They have a rough time. They have a tendency to keep quiet about what they want or what they need in order to like seem like less of a burden to people around them, and that causes like stress to build up for them. Meanwhile, Kara is very insightful and kind of aloof, but they also have a very strong sense of loyalty. It really plays into how in my fix, the red soul stands for love, not the all caps like level of violence love, but the actual love. It's how much you can trust other people and how much you need other people around you. Because I think that is a trait that both Kara and Frisk have in abundance. So I see them as because of how I see those characters, I see them really like balancing out each other's rough edges and enhancing each other in really nice ways. So yeah, that's why I ship Kara and Frisk.
Aw, that's sweet. Yeah. As I have stated many times, both on the server we share and a couple of times on here, I am a Frisk Wheel shipper. I am true-blooded. I think that Frisk and Astro would be the best couple for one another and stuff. But Charisk is also one that I definitely appreciate and everything. And there's this one AU in particular called Fading Away, which is the purest shit that I love, and I can't get enough of it.
Oh yeah, that one.
That freaking like tsundere card that like is that gentle giant Frisk and stuff. It's just
And the other characters just shipping them in the background.
it's just so cute.
Now the one thing I will say is that I don't think there's any ship I actually don't like in Undertale. I know a lot of people get really heated about their preferred ship. But for me, it's like, well, I think any ship can be done well. There are ships that I think that like lend itself more towards drama than others. The one off the top of my head is Frisk and Sans. Because you kind of have to, like, in order for that to make any real sense, you kind of have to like bump Frisk's age up a lot and bump Sans's age down a lot.
The thing is with the shipping of Sans and stuff is that a lot of the time that's mostly people like using Frisk as a way to get to Sans because the internet's obsessed with Sans even though he's kind of like 4 foot something and
yeah.
Hey, I'm not gonna yuck anybody's yum.
Yuck anybody's yum.
Apparently, people want a small, small, aloof skeleton boyfriend.
I want a small depresso bean boyfriend, please. Yes, thank you. Oh, and could you make it without skin? Yes, that's perfect.
Hey, chase your bliss.
Yeah. I mean, Adam, some of them want like an angry bean. That's why Underfell exists.
Oh yeah, Underfell Sans is very. It depends on who's writing him. Who wants to have a characterization he has.
Yeah.
Very true.
I mean, I did write a one-shot fic, kind of poking fun at the proliferation of Sans X Reader fics.
Oh my god.
Called the Skeleton Mambo, which is about which is about Sans getting about like 7 or 8 girlfriends because he's too lazy to tell them no.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then Papyrus has to bail him out. It's a very silly fic, but it's mostly for humor. And
Sans can't say no because he just can't. That's awesome.
I'm just a girl who can't say no. Anyway.
No, it's
not that he can't. He's too lazy.
Like breaking up is just too hard, and
yeah,
my phone's over there, and so.
Sans, you were supposed to meet me for our date like an hour ago. I was. That was too lazy to remember.
Come on, Sans, don't you care about me? 6 out of 10.
Who are you?
Of course I do, Jessica. Jessica!
I'm Polly.
Yeah, when it comes to the MC, I mean, like, Starbot dubs, like, they were, like, the champion of Charisk back in the day, which I love Starbot dubs. Please come on to the live stream. I'd really like to hear your voice and stuff. Talk about things. But yeah,
we can have a blades off and...
yeah.
The day you get Starbot dubs on here is the day. It's also the day that I finally, like, get up enough courage and actually start drawing like every day like I used to.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, I mean, I'd love to have her on. She seems wonderful and everything. Also just, oh, the sweet, sweet PR boost.
Let me feel those subscribers flowing.
Subscribe.
And please pay attention to me. I have a desperate desire to be wanted.
Yeah, like her, like, working, like, Drunk Kara, Fading Away, the Ask Mercy blog and stuff. It was just like, it was like some of the first Undertale, like, comic dubs I ever watched and everything, and it was just crazy.
Well, the first Undertale comic dub I ever watched was also from Starbot dubs. The one with Kara and, you know, the one, what was it? Underline. Yeah, Underline.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, I completely understand that. Like, outwardly, I'm you can read my fics anytime. It's nice. I just wanted to. You don't need to like comment or anything. I'm just happy that it's out there and that people can read it if they want to. And like inside, I'm like, kudos. Give me kudos. I need them. I must be validated.
Give me your views. All of your views. Yeah.
Like, I only have one like short story published on my AO3 at this point, but like every once in a while I'll see like a notification that I got kudos, and then I'm like
quick little dance off to the side.
My day's just a little better.
Yeah, exactly. Kudos and stuff are great, but getting a nice long comment is just so good.
Nothing like the hit of a comment where it's like, hey, I like your story. It's pretty cute and original.
Do you have a question coming up about what the favorite like comment or review I've ever received was? Because I have something I want to say about that.
No, not really.
Right.
But if you want to say,
I'll just do it now. Like, honestly,
share with the class.
And this is gonna sound cheesy as hell, but like, honestly, the best type of comment.
No, not really.
Right.
But if you want to say,
I'll just do it now. Like, honestly,
share with the class.
And this is gonna sound cheesy as hell, but like honestly, the best comment, the best type of comment I've ever received is when someone goes, "Hey, I liked your stuff so much that it inspired me to start writing," and that just like it really touched me because honestly, like I can write all day, and I mean, it's only people who like actually read my stories. That's the only people it affect. But if I inspire other people to write, that really it feels like I'm having more of a concrete difference and a concrete impact in the fandom. Yeah, that's the kind of comment that's my favorite.
Well, let's be honest. A lot of stuff throughout history is fan fiction.
Hey, I'm not knocking fan fiction at all.
Yeah, like Paradise Lost. You know that. You know that.
So we were talking about evil snakes earlier.
Well, in that version, Satan just possesses a snake. He doesn't actually turn himself into one. And also, Romeo and Juliet, written by William Shakespeare, is actually not the original. William Shakespeare wrote his own version because he felt the other one was a bit too hormonal teenager emotional stuff. And he thought, you know what, these kids need some poeticness to them.
But actually, my understanding is that again, I've never been able to confirm this, so grain of salt, grain of salt. I'm telling the story because I like it, not because it's true, necessarily. But my understanding is that those kind of stories were very popular in Shakespeare's time, where these two children from warring families, they get together. The thing is, most of them had happy endings, where the character in the role that Mercutio plays would handle everything and end the feud and put them all and set everyone up, and everything would end happily. So of course, like Shakespeare's like no, and wrote Romeo and Juliet as essentially as the scary movie of his time, where it's a massive parody of like, no, this is how things actually would go.
Yeah.
To be fair, this is much more accurate to how real life stuff like this. A lot of people end up dead and nobody's happy.
All because a bunch of teenagers are like, oh, love, 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 and it's like, you're being a little over dramatic.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the overly like happy stuff. It's like since we're talking about like something like that, it's like there's also like a tendency in the Undertale fandom to be like, and then everyone got brought back to life and everyone was happy forever and ever and stuff.
The end.
Exactly. And
no, I like happy endings.
Yeah, I do too. It's just that there's gotta be at least some cost to them. It's like
I like the mantra that Don Bloop had, but instead of like what he like his mantra, you can show a kid anything as long as it has a happy ending. But
after a bit of a mishap, we're back. Which luckily, luckily for us, I was able to restart my computer rather quickly, and yeah.
If it was my computer, we'd still be offline.
Yeah.
I hope we can splice those together.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I'll be able to edit them together. When it comes time for the post upload. But yeah, that frickin' sucked.
All right, what was the last thing you heard?
The thing with the thing.
Fast to know. The thing and the other thing.
Okay, so we were talking about what was it? We were talking about like overly happy endings and stuff, and yeah, I think Archmage, you were in the middle of talking or something. It was either you or my brother. I can't really tell which. Okay.
You can't tell Archmage from your brother?
No, I can't remember. It's just that I'm just so shocked that that this happened that I don't. Anyway, so so we were talking about really happy endings. I said something about like, everyone has to, Undertale, blah blah. Everybody lives and stuff, and I was like, yeah, you can have a happy ending, but you need a prize and stuff, and then Adam was like, talking about Don Blue saying you can show a kid anything, and he was about to say something, and then that's when it cut out. Now I remember.
All right. I was just saying something about on the lines of, I'm going to end like if you liken it to a car ride. I'm going to end at a happy destination, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to take a trip shortcut through the bad part of town.
Yeah. My ending in my AU, it is a happy one, but there are costs to this happiness. Like some, not everyone lives. Not everyone, not everyone makes it out. Not dealing with some stuff, and even some past pain will never be forgotten and stuff. Yeah, that's my mantra when it comes to that. Oh no, we're only down to 2 viewers because of my flip up. Alright.
It's okay. It's okay, Pasta. It's your computer.
Yeah. Man.
Computer went kaput.
Okay, so, I guess we can continue on with just the regular questions and stuff. Okay, Archmage, do you have a thing for like writing a bunch of short stories and stuff and all that? Do you ever struggle with, balancing, like writing short stories and writing your main story, or
Imagine, if you will, laughter that gradually grows higher and higher in pitch and insanity until I'm tackling like a Yes, I have a lot of difficulty balancing fics. I want to work balancing like short fics that sound interesting to me versus like longer form fics that are also interesting. So I have probably a half dozen unfinished projects in my Scrivener file at any one particular time, because I take like if I'm stuck on something in my main fic, I'll say okay, I'll work on one of my other projects instead for a little while, and I'll do that. And then I get stuck in my side project. I'm like, okay, I'll work on my main fic for a while, and I'll go work on that. So this does mean that there's sometimes some pretty significant gaps of time where I don't publish anything, and then I'll like drop 2 or 3 things. Like I'll drop a new chapter, and then like 1 or 2 short stories at once. Another like one thing I tend to do is I'll drop a new chapter, and I'll drop a new chapter of my main fic, and at the same time I'll put out a short story of something in another fandom, because I know that a lot of the people that follow me for my Undertale stuff. But at the same time, every so often I'm like, you know what? I want to like just dip my toe in here, not like get deep into a fandom, but I just want to play with these characters a little bit.
Yeah.
Like recently, I wrote a Devil May Cry fanfic. That's where it's called Another Tact, but it really could just be called Virgil and Dante banter with each other for 2,000 words. So that was a lot of fun to work on. But I released it only like 2 or 3 days after a new chapter of my main fic, because that's the kind of thing that, well, I don't get any money for this, but in terms of engagement and interest, it pays the bills.
Yeah. I have a problem where I can only focus on like one thing at a time when it comes to writing, and it's just.
Yeah. Speaking of that, okay. So I've been working on this fairly long form fanfic, and I think it's currently standing at like. Hang on, I haven't opened. In fact, because I was planning on working on it like after we're done here. It's about. Yeah. It's currently about 46 pages.
Oh my.
I haven't uploaded anything of it yet, mostly because I'm debating with myself, should I even? Because it's for a movie that nobody really cares about anymore, and frankly, there's the question. And frankly, I haven't seen this movie in a while because I didn't have access to it.
Aw.
So yeah, I'm terrified. I'm basically terrified that I'll rewatch the movie and realize that I got the characters completely wrong.
I definitely hear that. Like, I've got like 50,000 words or so of a long form fanfic I was going to do, but I did eventually drop it because I'm like, this is a fanfic of an anime that's like, at this point, it's almost 20 years old, and it wasn't that popular when it came out.
Wait, what?
So it's like, nobody's gonna read this.
Wait, what anime?
Everybody, it's so annoying when you write this really good fan fiction, but everybody still wants the exact same stuff. All they want is...
Yeah, Adam.
Yeah, I get that. You search for the top number of kudos in Undertale fics, and it's like, hey, did you want Reader Sans? Too bad. Pasta, are you dead again?
No, I was just kind of quiet because I was looking at something else.
Fair enough.
But yeah, this thing where people just want the same stuff. That's another thing. And now Cupcake is having technical difficulties. God dang. Cupcake.
My internet was being garbage, and all I could hear was
Defeat.
Oof.
And so it's better now.
Yeah. So, we're another thing. Okay, so, so yeah, I wanted to do something different and stuff because, like, you've seen like your standard Undertale fanfic. Oh, it's like an AU where it's like it's the full journey through the underground and stuff again, but there's like something like abyss or whatever, or oh, it's like a thing for it, oh, it's like a sans led fic and stuff, and it's and yeah, it's about his angst and everything. Or oh, it's a sans reader fic or whatever. It's just like, I love seeing that. It's stuff. They don't need to see me do something like that. Also, I don't want to do something like that. And yeah, I've always been more into Undertale fanfics that like take place after the game. I mean, there are some exceptions and everything, but but yeah, I've been more like more like A's like said after the game, like Undertale or the Ask Frisk and Company Ass blog and stuff, along with Dogs of Future Past and everything. But
Yes.
but yeah, but yeah, stuff. But yeah, just originality is one of the hardest things to come across and stuff. Where in the Undertale fandom, where it's like where it's like a lot of the time it's like we're only drawing on sources from Adam. I just want you to know that those Badoops and everything you're doing in that other server, I'm getting on my thing. I hope you know that because but
Other what? What cost?
He's doing messages. He's messaging someone else on another server, and I didn't forgot to turn out the notifications on that. So I see him talking with someone else, and I'm just like, you're not even paying attention, are you? But yeah, the whole creativity thing. It's like a lot of the time I feel like Undertale stuff only draws on other Undertale stuff, and we should be drawing on other stuff from that. I mean, like with my fanfic. God, how many times have I said my fanfic already in the stream? I draw on anime. I draw on classic films. I draw on science fiction TV shows, all sorts of stuff.
Take inspiration from anywhere.
Yeah.
May I talk about something?
Oh, sure. Go ahead. Okay. Go ahead, Cupcake, you adorable bean.
So I have an AU. Yes, but I have a comic that I want to make, an Undertale comic that I want to make in the future, and I am in the process of writing it in my head. I still haven't really written it down on paper yet, but I want some inspiration for part of it to be from urban legends and different things like Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, Chupacabra, such and stuff like that. Because I was thinking, well, what if those are monsters, but they didn't get trapped underground? What if not all monsters got trapped underground? And then the urban legends are monsters that didn't. And that's part of it. That's not really the whole thing. That's just a small part of my idea.
It's neat, though.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
I get inspiration from anywhere and everywhere. I have an original character in the Munificent Seven, a human called Marty. I don't have any when I create characters, I don't have them obviously based on anyone. You can't say, oh, this is just my version of such and such a person from this other fandom or this other character. However, I will say that a major influencing factor in Marty's character is Justin McElroy of podcast fame. So that's a big reason why in the Munificent Seven, Marty's primary contribution is that he has a podcast, where he has Papyrus on, and they just answer questions from the audience about, hey, what's up? What are the monsters up to? What's going on in the world right now? And it allows me to do a bunch of exposition, but at the same time, Marty's really fun to play with in the podcast setting. So
I seriously thought that since you said Marty, it'd be more like Marty McFly from Back to the Future.
Pasta, you're not allowed to think that I was thinking that.
I mean, it's a pretty obvious reference.
it's short for Martin. He just hates that name, so he tells everyone to call him Marty.
Yeah. I see that you also have a bunch of original characters in your thing, along with making the human souls characters and stuff. From the tags that I've seen on your fics and everything.
Original characters are fun to make, honestly.
Yeah. Make that many for... I don't make original characters unless I absolutely have to, but with this Delta project I'm working on, I absolutely have to, because there's nothing there, really, besides that.
Well, the issue with that is that I needed to make a lot of original characters for the Munificent Seven, especially, simply because of the premise of the work, is that, the premise was born when I thought, and I was like, well, okay, a lot of people say, like, okay, let's bring Azrael back, we just need to get him a soul. But I think, wait a minute, Flowey got 6 human souls at one point, and he didn't become Azrael then. So in order to be Azrael, he'd need 7, wouldn't he? So that became the focus of the fic, is that there needs to be 7 humans who willingly give their souls to Azrael in order to get him back. And it's like, okay, well, what kind of person would agree to that? How would they come to trust the monsters that much? And how good of a person would they need to be to say, okay, when you die, you can have my soul, to bring back Goat Boy. And so that's the premise of the fic. I'm only just now getting around to actually, onto that part of the plot, but that's been the plan since day one.
Someone in the chat was like, "Pasta guy equals Marty confirmed." I don't know if I'm like him or not.
Marty.
Marty's a good guy. He's just incredibly irresponsible. Like telling an 8-year-old, hey, when you do all the dangerous stuff you can now, because when you get older, you'll realize being in trouble is a fake ID.
Okay. Yeah.
I like to have comedy in my...
I mean, I also have comedy too. I'm not sure if I mentioned this or not yet on this live stream. I'm sorry if I have. One of the comedy bits I had was through some shenanigans and stuff. Basically, before Frisk actually finds out that Azrael has a crush on them and everything, Azrael's crush kids tell to several different characters, MK, Monster Kid, the armless monster and stuff, Sans, Undyne, and yeah. So one of the things I had was throughout the story, sometimes throughout the story, Sans would give Azrael advice, but it'd be advice hold up and stuff. You don't have to confess to her right now. Take your time, kid. And I was like, hang on, I could do something with this. So yeah. After Azrael does confess and stuff, later on, Azrael explains this to Sans and Undyne, and then Undyne was just he shouts out yes for some reason, and Azrael's completely confused, and Sans is like, oh damn it, and Azrael's like, what's going on? It's just Undead's just like, we made a $100 bet that you wouldn't confess to Frisk until like after my wedding to Alphys and stuff, and I said you would, and he said you wouldn't, and he was wrong, I was right, and I got $100 out of it. But yeah, but yeah, that's one
Who
of
knows
the.
if Sans will ever pay it back, though.
No, Sans
Add it to his tab.
No, Sans actually like gave them the $100 like straight away.
Oh, yes.
She was literally like holding out the money to Asriel and stuff, and Asriel's just like, you shouldn't make bets on people's love lives. And I'm just like, what are you gonna do? Stop us? You can't beat me. You can't beat me in a fight. And Asriel's like, yeah, that's true.
Well,
Exactly. It's like this. Even like in my AU, it's like Undertale, where it's like Frisk and Asriel have been like training under Undead and stuff. It's like they've been training under Undead for like 7 or odd years and everything, and they Asriel still can't freaking defeat Undyne 1-on-1 and stuff, so yeah. Alright, so we still have a couple more official questions. The chat's been actually like super quiet and stuff, I guess because people just aren't really familiar with you or whatever. So,
did you announce it, Pasta?
I did announce it. I announced it on Tumblr. I announced it on like all the Discords, or at least the popular Discords I'm on that are Undertale related. So yes.
Okay.
And we have about the same viewership we usually do, Cupcakes. So, except for that one time.
Sorry, I'm not the draw that Zaragi was.
Well, Zaragi like has like a big comic dub and everything.
Yeah, I know. I'm playing with you.
Speaking of which, if Starbot Dubs ever does come on here, I'll see if I can let her read some of your stuff and all that. I mean, I'm sure that'd be nice to hear like a professional voice actress or like speak out like some parts of your book and everything.
Well, some parts of my stories and some of my one-shots have been read by a member of Fanfic Paradise. I had a lot of fun listening to those, even though they tend to mostly read the children getting in trouble for behaving badly flavor of fics.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was really fun and really engaging, and I mean, if Starbuck Dubs would narrate some fics, I mean, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not holding out hope for it, but while we're wishing.
I'm running that one Calvin and Hobbes comic, and while I'm wishing, you might as well wish for a pony. But yeah. Honestly, if Starmont Dubs ever gets on here, there's just gonna be so many voice requests and stuff I want to do, and probably the chat wants to do and stuff. Anyways, let's.
Next.
Next question. You've done more than Undertale fanfics, such as Devil May Cry, JoJo's, and My Hero Academia. What's it like to occasionally dip your toe into other fandoms?
I mean, you say what's it like, but really all I do is that, hey, like while I'm playing something or listening to something, I think to myself, oh, hey, this would be a neat idea to explore. And then I write a quick thing of it because it interests me. And then I just put it out without really engaging with the bigger fandom. Mm-hmm. So like I'm not in the Devil May Cry fandom the same way I'm in Undertale, but it is fun to like kind of branch out and explore other characters and other situations. ones that that you can't, like. Undertale is great for certain types of stories, but you can't really tell every type of story with it. Um,
Yeah.
so it's just it's fun to explore those different things.
Yeah. I saw on your thing. It's like you kind of left the people hanging on the one My Hero Academia fic, and I'm just
Well, hey, I warned people that I'm only going to be writing it as it interests me and uh, as I get ideas for it, and it's kind of like My Hero Academia is a much bigger fandom than Undertale, but the My Hero Academia fic is not my priority. I said it at the outset.
yeah. But still, I'm just like, there's that one person that just didn't get the memo. It's just like that's like checking like every once in a while, just like, is it updated? No, I guess not. But
Well, that's what the subscription is there for.
yeah. Uh, I had some fun looking through your profile the other night, looking at your stuff, and and uh, I saw that you have a pseudo account called After Dark, which
How about we don't talk about that?
yeah. All I'm gonna say about that is explicit, and that's all you need to know about that.
Well, it sounds like something that would.
I've written stuff like that too. Anyways, hey, I'm an adult. I could. I'm an adult, and I'll have you know, my stuff is between adults and nothing else. but yeah. Seem to be out of questions. I mean, does anybody have anything else to talk about, or do we just want to wrap it up just about here?
Well, I've got a number of one-shots of various themes. I've got my main fics. We've already talked about those a bit. But if you don't have anything more specific to ask, or if the chat doesn't have anything they want to ask either, then I'm not really. I'm not really. How do I want to put this? I don't think there's any value in filling up dead air.
Yeah. Oh, wait, there is actually one question that I forgot to write down that I just remembered. So, I saw that you wrote a thing for Pride Month and stuff, and
Yep.
Which was sweet and everything. And I saw that you made you had Azrael be attracted to original male character and stuff, and
Yep.
and that's funny because I was thinking about writing something similar and stuff. I had this personal thing. I had this personal fanfic that I haven't posted yet because I didn't think about posting it. Also, since my thing is my account is actually for all the jokes I make and stuff. My actual AO3 account is actually pretty squeaky clean, actually, when it comes to that type of content, a certain type of content and everything. And the story is that I do have there was a story that I wrote that actually did have Azrael be in love with a male character and stuff. Their name it was actually an original character I came up with, which was Luke and everything. And I basically used that story to actually explore Azrael's sexuality, which was nice because I never really done something like that. It was something like that. Basically, in the story. Not to get too much into it because it does have a lot of things that we're not supposed to talk about in it.
Hey, you're the one who said this conversation's supposed to stay PG-13.
It, it, there's nothing explicit about me saying Azrael makes out with a wolf boyo, but that's yeah, basically, it was nice exploring some characters' sexuality and everything, and like them having a realization about like, hey, might be 100% straight, which was something similar that I went through as someone who is bisexual and everything. Even though I figured it out over time, and he kind of is sort of got it all at once because of the wolf bio. And yeah, so did you just make Azrael have a male partner and everything to fit in the theme of Pride Month, or do you think that there was something more to it?
Well, it's sort of a headcanon. There's nothing in the game that like says anything about Azrael's sexuality one way or the other, because again, he's somewhere between like 8 and 12, and it's A, he's too young, and B, it's really not relevant to the plot of Undertale. But I was just thinking of thinking of it, and like in my fix, monsters don't really have physical sex the way humans do. So it's not even two female monsters or two male monsters can still have a kid together. And because of that, there's basically no stigma around same-sex relationships the way humans have had for years and years and years. And so I kind of said, I don't really make a big deal out of it. I'll just mention offhand, oh yeah, Sans had 2 dads, or this other character would have 2 moms. And it's just treated as, like, monsters just treated as, oh yeah, that's a thing that happens. It's not a big deal at all.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like the Asper's Company thing where Undyne was like the product of 2 mer women, and Alphys was the product of 2 Fire Drake males.
Yeah.
I'm not terribly familiar with Asterisk and Company. I mean, I'm not going to lie and say I've read it, but I don't know the lore of it that well.
It's a pretty good AU. I kind of stopped watching it. I kind of stopped reading / watching it a while ago, though, because I kind of just got a bit bored with it. And one of the
that happens.
Yeah. And also one of the things I have that's kind of annoying is that I'm fine with like having your show or whatever go on for as long as it wants, if there is an ending somewhere in it, if an ending that's planned out and stuff. If there isn't, I kind of check out, because I like stories with a nice clean beginning, middle, and end.
Actually, about that, if there is a single piece of writing advice that I'm famous for giving for, either on the Fanfic Paradise Discord channel or elsewhere, always, I tell people, write your ending first. It should be one of the first things you write out, because endings are so hard. Like, it's so difficult to get them right and have everything come together and feel satisfying. So if you don't know where you're going when you start the story, it's almost impossible to wrap things up in a clear and satisfying way by the end of it. So But I did that with How to Save a Soul, where the ending is the second thing I ever wrote for Undertale, period. And it's also the same with Munificent Seven, where I'm still like many chapters away from the ending, but I still have a very clear picture in my head. Okay, this is how it's going to end. This is how it's going to wrap up. So that would be my big piece of writing advice: is do your ending first.
Yeah. I usually the thing with my writing stuff, I think of the beginning, I think of the beginning, and I think of the end, and I think of a bunch of middle bits. I think of basically like if it were to be a good analogy, it'd be like clips of stuff you'd watch on YouTube and stuff when you just want to watch like the cool big moments from a thing. I think of those first, and then I'm just like, okay, buddy, how'd you get there?
So you write an outline, you write your bullet points, and then
Yeah.
and then you figure out how to smoosh them together with all the middle bits.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, this is a very, like, as a person who has run certain content that involves a certain activity, I cannot just have the characters have like a few words together, then start doing that intimate activity. I need a storyline, some goddamn ambiance. I am a picky person.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I am too. Again, for all the jokes and making stuff, I am a sappy frick. I will always just cherish like that. I will always cherish like those fics that like spend like so much time building up to their romance and stuff. Then the characters come together, and it just makes me so happy. But
yeah. Yeah, there's also the problem of sometimes when you write something like this, where you get like the character stuff, and it's just like, how are they going to end up together when they have this complicated relationship?
Yeah.
I try to keep my shipping stuff separate from my main stuff. Like in my main fix in How to Save a Soul and the Munificent Seven, there is no Charisk shipping, not in the romantic sense. Their relationship and how they're friends is still a major part of the story. But I understand that some people, the shipping turns people off. They don't want to read about like the characters like falling all over each other, saying "No, I love you. No, I love you." So
no one wants to read that type of stuff.
Right. So I'm like, I put that into like one shots and separate fix. And the only thing I'm going to say about the suit account is that if you don't want to read certain activities, it's often a completely separate account, and you don't have to look at it at all. You don't have to know it's there.
Yeah,
and that's why I did it that way.
I mean, I didn't know it was there until I like went to look over it like just the other day, and another thing is we talked about like your Azrael stuff earlier and everything. Mm-hmm. It's just like I just in my AU and stuff. Azrael is straight, and so is Frisk and stuff. Okay. Because when I was writing it, that's what I thought I was and stuff. And sometimes, but then I like look through like some of the stuff that I do for Azrael and everything, and I can read between the lines a bit, and I'm just like, I'm reminded of that one John Mulaney skit. It's just like a comedy skit. It's like I think I was supposed to be gay. Like they built like 3/4 of the gay person, and they just like forgot to flip the final switch, and they were just like, and the agents were just like, oh, you marked that one gay. It's just like, oh no, I thought you did. Oh, this is gonna be, well, this is gonna be an interesting person. This is gonna be a very silly person. just that thought of like, Azrael just like, I'm just like, I'm just like, I'm pretty sure, like, in the stuff, it's like, I'm pretty sure he's, like, straight or whatever, and everything, like, pretty sure, but it's just like, I'm not, there's a lot of stuff where I'm just like, is he though? Is he really? But, yeah, it's a whole other topic and stuff. Well, yeah, we've been going on for quite a while, so I think we'll wrap up.
Oh,
Okay.
also,
Ooh.
Happy Father's Day.
Oh yeah, happy Father's Day for all these people watching it when this
Yeah,
goes.
for all the Americans.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
it's a
And if it's Father's Day where you are, and if you're not a father, then go call your dad or something. I don't know.
yeah. And maybe like you're a dad and like you own a cat or something. Like go hug
Yes.
your cat or something.
go.
Go hug your fur baby.
Go hug your friend.
I'll go hug my little ducklings
Yes,
when we're done.
yeah,
It's Becky.
yeah. So yeah, thank you all of you for joining me. Thank you especially to the Archmage.
Thank you. If you want to look up my fics, I am under the Archimage at both AO3 and on fanfiction.net.
Yeah. Oh dang! I didn't link to your fanfiction. Down there in the description. I'll have to change that. But I have some editing work to do anyway because they have to like combine these two live streams into one. So that's gonna be.
I have a Tumblr, but I never use it. I do not have a Twitter account because Twitter is the devil.
I'm on Twitter. I can confirm you that it is. But yeah.
Twitter was scary.
It's scary. So yeah, thank you also, Adam, for not complaining too much for being dragged into this.
Yeah, props.
I'm fine. I feel like I didn't contribute enough. Is that weird?
Well, considering where you were coming from, where it was basically me just bursting into your room being like, hey, I need someone to fill in. Could you help? And you were just like, yeah, sure, whatever.
I thought this was a comic.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you all so much. As for our next podcast, like I said last time we met up, I'm gonna try and get the creator of Inverted Fate on here sometime, possibly later this week and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And yeah, they're the incredibly popular fanfic writer, and I hope they'll come on. But if they won't, we most likely might have just another 3-person show with Cupcake, me, and Viking, and we'll have to figure something out for that. Maybe we can like just
maybe that'll be the Deltarune episode.
Yeah. Ooh, that'd be cool if you like drew like background.
I could, but it would have to be set first.
Yeah.
Let's not be hasty, Aaron.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple of Deltarune fics too.
Oh, yeah, you did write a couple of Deltarune fics, but yeah. So thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a great night. Take care, and remember, as always, stay determined.
Stay determined.
Stay determined.
Stay determined.
Adam.
Stay determined.
I was about to say, I'm not editing the live stream. Oh God, my brother asked me to.
I'm sorry.
But yeah,
You give like an itemized list of what I had to do.
an itemized list. It's a podcast. But yeah, again, thank you all for watching. Good night, and we'll see you all later.